Hello. Oh, God, look. I have a huge fan. Oh, my golly. This is really not the best angle on the face of the planet, is it? All right, we're just going to have to deal with that. I've been at the gym and I've been running late. I had to pick up a jumper for my daughter and golly gosh. So good morning. Welcome to those of you who are coming on. I'm just letting you come on in. All right. Hi, Catherine. If you guys have got any questions about marketing, social media, content, being bold, drinking coffee or anything like that, let me know. I'd love to answer it for you. I've got to tell you, I am feeling strong today. I have, hey Kelly, been upping my weights bit by bit at the gym, and I found a muscle, and then it's feeling really strong. It's nice. How good is it to feel strong and healthy? I've got to tell you, I reckon it feels awesome. All right. Hey, Tamara. Okay, so one of the questions that I've had, I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, I put it up as a blog, I put it up as a post, I've put it up, in every possible place possible. The Manifesto for the Brave. And the bold, the Manifesto for the Brave and the Bold. And it was really funny because as I wrote that, I'm like, oh, it's a little bit like the Bold and the Beautiful, which is, not at all what it was for. I had a question about how I wrote that, how I came up with that. And so one of the things that I do, and I've spoken about this reasonably, consistently and regularly over time, but for those of you who are new to me, perhaps, or who are new to, the way that we do things over here in the world of Nicola Morass, it's all about you really kind of tapping into that heart space for your audience and for your people, and writing whatever it is and saying whatever it is that you feel like they need to say and they really need to hear. And so yesterday, I've been working out in this space. Actually, I haven't been working out in this space because I don't work out here. I work out at the gym. But I've been working out here. Not working out. This has been my office for the week. I'm going to shift back. I don't like the angle. I don't like the way that light is hitting my neck. It feels a bit weird. Hey, Chris. Good morning. Hey, Kim. So anywho, let's get back to that. One of the things that I know is super helpful for me is working and being in different spaces. Now, this can be in different spaces in my house, right? But it sparks different neurons, I believe, in our brains. It sparks different thinking, and I'd really encourage you on a semi-regular basis to either shift yourself and work in different places, or go somewhere else, or even move your furniture around, right? Shift your furniture around, live on the edge, and really change things up, because it's that different perspective that can bring, different thinking, different inspiration and stuff like that to kind of come through. So I'd certainly encourage you to do that as often as you can. So anyway, yesterday for the Manifesto for the Brave and the Bold, I was sitting out here, hey Joe, and I've been having conversations with people via Messenger and via email and via Voxer actually as well, about feeling like there's a little bit of, when the fuck is it going to break through? When the heck am I going to be able to, move forward? Should I settle? Should I just be happy with, making $100,000 a year, or a couple of $100,000 a year, or $500,000 a year, or $1 million a year, or, whatever the client is doing? And, when is this push going to freaking stop? Just FYI, bulletproof coffee with eggs after the gym is the best protein hit on the face of the planet. And I was running late to get back to you, so I'm feeling like I need to chug it on down. So anyway, And I guess yesterday I was sitting here and I was thinking, it's like, okay, well, what do I feel like would be something that I have needed in the past? And one of the activities actually that a previous mentor of mine got us to do, and I can't remember, he got us to write our creed. And for any of you who are familiar with the armed forces, and I think particularly this was an SAS thing, I think. I could be wrong. Hey, Jones, good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. It's like my gun is my weapon. It's an extension of me. You know, there's this whole creed that they recite. And essentially it's about activating something within them in order to be able to go and do what it is that they need to do. And I was thinking not about that necessarily, but I was thinking about the things that have worked for me in the past. And it's like, well, you know, what would I have told myself, and what have I thought about, and what is it that's worked for me? And for me, the thing that doesn't work is just the, you know, get your ass back out there, Nicola. You know, I'm happy to get my ass kicked, but not in a way that's just go on, get out there. Like I need some kind of like, it's almost like an internal activation for me that it enables me to flick a switch and start going. So I guess I was thinking about that. I was thinking about roller derby and what parts of me I've needed to access in order to actually be able to, like, after I've been beaten, you know, knocked down and get back up, and then get knocked down and then get back up, and then, you know, like there are thoughts, and I've chatted with my husband about this over time as well. It's like, oh, maybe I should just fucking quit. You know, this is just too hard. And whenever I've had that little thought skittered through my head, it's like, well, what are you? Are you a quitter? Are you really a quitter? And I'm not, and I know that you're not. And so that's really where this manifesto came in. That was the place that it came from, because I know if I felt like that in the past, and I've been having conversations with people about whether they should settle, or whether they should just be happy with their lot, or whether they should just, you know, settle for the thing when everyone else, when the world is telling you that you should be happy with what you've got. You should be happy with the house that you have because it's got a roof. You should be happy with the car that you have because it takes you from A to B. You should be happy with the audience that you have. You should be happy with whatever it is. You don't need anything different. You don't need more. You don't need to extend. You don't need to expand. You don't need to go global. And I guess for me, like, the thing that I was thinking about with all of that is kind of like, I guess it's kind of like, well, like that can work for them, right? That can work for them, and that is fine. But for people like you and me, even though the temptation to relax a little, you know, the temptation to kind of just go, oh, well, you know, maybe I can just, you know, maybe it's an option. It doesn't mean that the thought doesn't cross our minds, right? And in fact, I think we'd be kind of like robots if we weren't wooed by settling at some point in time, or that we weren't wooed by, you know, like the snake in the tree saying, just eat this apple type thing. So I guess that's why I wrote that. And it was really about understanding and sinking myself into, well, what do my people really need to hear today? And that sort of flew out of me. But it's interesting because when I first started writing it, I didn't really know where it was going. It's like the live streams a lot of the time. You know, I've got an idea, like today's Q&A Wednesday. Obviously, you know, I've got some questions that I've had messaged through, which I'll answer in a sec. And I had this question come through as well. And it's like, all right, well, I know that I'm going to answer those questions, and I can probably answer those questions in T-minus 2 minutes. But in actual fact, like, we don't always know where this conversation is going to go. And that's what happens with the writing. And actually, this is what happens with journaling in general. And interestingly, the manifesto did come out in here. right? It started out in here, and like it says, like literally, I will not dim my light so that others can shine. Their shining brightly is their own responsibility, as is mine. I will not succumb to the pressure to conform to the way of doing things. I'll do it my way. I will find my own way. I will not go gently into the night. I will be loud and bold and let everybody know where and who I am. I will not submit to the suggestion of making my goals realistic. They are what they are. I will not be quiet. I will be a force to be reckoned with. And then I've gone, I will not. And I'm like, shit, I can't keep writing this. Like, it's too slow. I need to type. I type faster than what I write, which is how all of that then came. And then it came, and then it just kind of kept coming. So sometimes it's like, for your creativity to start to flow, for your words to start to flow, for your lives to start to flow, it's important for you to just start and then trust that whatever it is that needs to come out, that the rest of it will actually kind of come out. Like those, those handkerchiefs, those magician handkerchiefs that come out and then they keep coming and then they're different colors and you're like, how the heck did they fit all of that in that little pocket in their jacket? And of course it's magic. So, we don't know how they did that. All right, so that's how that manifesto came about. So that was that. Now I had another question. All right, so Tamara has asked, what can you tell me about LinkedIn and how it works? Well, LinkedIn is a really great platform, particularly for the people who have got a very, I'm going to say, professional type of business, or looking at recruitment, or looking at connecting with other more sort of corporate professional styles of businesses. It's not always like, that doesn't necessarily have to be exactly like that. I do have a profile over on LinkedIn and I tend to share stuff from here over on there. In fact, I share all the coffee runs over on there, and I share the visible lives over into there as well, because I know that there are some people in there that really need to hear this message. So LinkedIn works very similarly to the way that Facebook does. One of the big differences though is that, number one, the volume of people on there are a lot smaller, and number two, the amount of time that people spend on there is a lot less. So what the data shows is, over on LinkedIn, people spend on average 10 minutes or less on that platform on a daily basis. So in terms of you being seen, standing out, getting your message out there, and things like that, you've got a really tight little small window of time and window of opportunity in order to connect. Most people aren't over on there looking for personal connection. They're using it as kind of like a networking platform. So it's a really good idea if you are looking at recruitment. It's a good place to try and source staff depending on your style of business. It could be a really great place where you can connect with other, like say that you're a HR consultant, where you might be able to connect with other HR consultants, for instance. If you're an accountant and you want more business clients, then it's probably a great place for you to put content up, because there are a lot of business owners in there as well. Or if you're a CFO, think things like that. There has been more of a rise from what I've been watching. There is a little bit more lifestyle stuff going up on there, but it's still really minimal. It's particularly business-like. And whether it's about getting more clients, increasing revenue, systemization, employment, things like that. So I would probably, Tamara, knowing a bit about your business in terms of the aged care stuff, I would probably be hanging out more on Facebook and Instagram, and leveraging those platforms and really investing your time into that versus trying to be on LinkedIn. So that would be that. So in terms of a LinkedIn account, just create a profile. So if you've got the time and the energy and you want to be able to start to build up a profile on there, then certainly go in, do it as your name, start as your name, and then you can start sharing the content from other places over on there as well. So I'll share my blogs on there. I'll share some of the, the picture quote memes that I create for myself. I'll go and put some of those on there. It's essentially just another channel to think about it like syndication. So yesterday I spoke about treating all of social media like it's your own network, and all of these channels are yours. Treat it a bit like, well, I've got one piece of content, how can I syndicate it out? Just so you have a presence but not investing too much. Exactly. It just gives people another place to find you, research you, and they see that you're consistent across the platforms, right? It can also help, I suppose, I'm thinking for people who might be a bit more like me. So I tend to work with businesses in the small to medium enterprise or small business owner, entrepreneur type segment versus corporate. But I make sure that the LinkedIn profile is still a little bit more, I do focus it on being a little bit more professional. I'm not quite as slap happy over there. And I guess the reason for that is that the things that I talk about and the things that I do still apply into corporate. So if somebody wanted me to come in and do a keynote, for instance, if somebody wanted to work out how to apply what I do into corporate, that they can see that I have the ability to be respectful of the environment that I would be stepping into. Trust that makes sense. So, it's important to have a presence if you've got the time and the energy to do that, and just go put that over on there. Okay. You said, I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you might recommend with setting this up professionally, so that should answer that. Any tips about how I organize, prioritize, and stay on track? Okay. Okay. I find it's good for you to be seen in a leader as you feel, especially in B2B. Yeah, absolutely, Catherine. Totally. It's important. I share a lot of the articles, like the articles that I've written recently, like the Weekend Australian. It's appropriate that gets shared over in there. It's more of a professional publication. Same with Money Magazine. Those types of things. If you can show that you've got adaptability, then that's also important. Over on there. Okay, so tips on how I organize, prioritize, and stay on track. Well, that is a really excellent question, because sometimes I don't. So the things that are important to me and the things that I do want to prioritize, I make sure go in my calendar. They go in my schedule. So for instance, I go to the gym most days. That gets blocked out in my schedule. I do coffee runs and Visible Live every day. They're in my schedule. And as you guys know, I was testing another way of doing that earlier on in the year, and it worked for a season and then it stopped working. So then you've got to change things up, right? And so this is why now we're back at a regular scheduled time, and it just really helps my brain to be able to stay consistent and to be able to stay focused. And it also helps me manage my energy, I suppose, is another really great reason for doing it in this way. So the things that are important get blocked in my calendar, my schedule. So I've got the gym in there, I've got my lives in there. If I'm delivering a new program, Bold, I've got Bold scheduled in. I put that in yesterday with all of the topics. So 7 a.m. every day starting next Friday, 7 o'clock. They're going to get what they need. So that's in there. And things like that. So I guess what I do, and I've got my planner. I do use my planner. Tamara, correct me if I'm, or don't correct me. That would be, don't correct me. But if you need clarification, like if this is not the angle that you're thinking of, make sure you let me know. And I'll answer it if this isn't quite the question that you're needing answered. I do use my planner. So in my planner, it reminds me of, and it's less of a to-do list and more of a checklist, just to remind me, oh yeah, I've got to go put that video up on LinkedIn. Oh yep, I've got to go and do this. Yeah, I've got to do that. In terms of prioritization, the things that I think about are really about like, what are the things that I need to do that are the most important to me today, for instance. So today we've gone for a walk, I've gone to the gym, I'm doing my live stream. They are all high value activities that must be done every day. Then the next thing is sales, right? So the live stream essentially is marketing, and then the next thing has to be sales. So if you guys haven't come along for Bold yet or registered for Bold, then, you know, I'll put the thing in here a little bit later and, you know, come along and play. So, you know, sales activities are really important. You know, guys, I talked about this, I've jammed a bit about this yesterday on Visible Live. And the thing that we've really got to remember is that, and actually unwind and untangle, particularly for women and men as well, but particularly for women, for some reason, there seems to be a sense of hesitating, not quite shame, but resistance to say, well, I need to make some money today. And not about needing to make money today necessarily, but maybe like I like one of the key things that I have to do is I have to make money today. Like it's a thing. I've got to make sales. And so in order for you to be able to make sales, you've got to make offers. And in order to make offers, you've got to have an audience. And in order to have an audience, you have to market. And in order to market, you have to know what you're selling. And to know what you're selling, you need to know who your audience is. And to know then you need to know like what makes you so different. And then you've got to have your message and you know, rah, 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 rah. And so I think that one of the things that we've all got to be willing, ready, willing, and able, and being really fucking proud of is the fact that you've got something to freaking sell, right? You know, that has got to be a priority in your day. Otherwise, how the hell are you going to be making money? You know, if you're not making sales, you're not making money. So that's, you know, I look at that. One of the other things that I do every day is I go into my bank account and I make sure I transfer money. So half of everything that I make gets put over into one account. And then I also put 10%. So like 10% of everything that goes in goes over into another account. So I kind of, I like to spend money, right? Let's just put it out there. I really love spending money on really lovely things. And I like spending money on stuff like stationery and, you know, cool shit and whatever. And I find that if I don't put money aside, the money kind of, it gets invested into stuff, which is really great. Like it's really great stuff all the time. But what I found is like I've got into trouble in the past, and actually I put this in Money Magazine. They asked for an expert comment, like what would be your money do-over? And my money do-over was, I wish that I used to do this back in the day, because I got myself into a bit of a bother with tax because I didn't put it aside. And so then I was chasing my tail with paying tax and then putting money aside for tax, and you know, it's just really freaking messy, right? So that would be my money do-over. So one of the priorities for me is to make sure that I've got as much clean space as possible to be able to be creative. And so making sure that the money conversations are done and the dealing with the money is done. Making sure that my marketing is scheduled and done, and that the messaging is done, and that any sales activities are getting done. So that's really, and therefore like the messaging is the blogging, the live streams, and everything else in between. Now I can see, Tamara, that you've made a comment, but I can't actually see what that is. So give me 2 seconds. If you guys have got other questions about any of this, let me know, because, you know, I love jamming with you, and I want to make sure that it's like really relevant to whatever it is that you've got going on. Maybe let me know what your biggest challenge is at the moment, and I can kick your ass over that. That'd be fun. Maybe you don't need your ass kicked. Maybe you just need some reassurance. I know that that's true for a lot of people. Just like, you know what, babe, you've got this. You're on the right track. You know, you can do that. You can say that. Of course you can do that. You know, remember who you are. All right. Let me go into the comments. All right, hang on. /bold. All right. I've just popped unpin. That's not what I wanted to do. I don't want to pin Jones's comment. Not that you're not fabulous. Jones, what is MBTI? I don't know what that means. And therefore I probably can't answer you. I can tell you if that's your MyersBriggs thing, right? Now I am not au fait with MyersBriggs, but I can tell you in DISC, I'm DI when it comes to business. So what that means is we've got DISC has got 4 main behavioral types, and you've got your natural state, and then there's your adjusted state. So the adjusted state is usually how we need to behave and work. So at work, in my day, I'm DI. So we've got DISC. So D is dominant, I is influencer, S is for safety and security, C is for compliance. So D-type people tend to be doof, 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 we've got to get things done, rally the troops, get them doing what they need to do. I's are like the peacocks. They can get distracted by all the things. Oh my God, Tamara, I can't see your comment. This is just so bizarre. I don't get why that is. And then you've got the I's end up being they often have all of the words, and then naturally that's probably the state that I'm in. But I know if I just sit in that all day, I don't get anything done because I'm looking for distractions essentially. S people are very safety security driven, think nurses, teachers, carers, that type of thing. And they just want to make everybody really happy, which is really great. And then the C, the compliance people, they're very data driven, really happy to work on their own, things like that. Whereas S's and I's, they really like to have people around them. D's just want to get things done. And then the C's want to get things done, but don't talk to me, just leave me alone, right? So I'm I, and at work I'm DI. So, but then there's also this extroverted introvert type thing, or introverted extrovert. So I would say that the more me I become, and the more comfortable I am with me, and the more accepting and more gracious I am about myself and really looking after me and my own energy, I'm certainly more of an introverted extrovert. That makes sense. So yeah, doesn't answer your Myers-Briggs question, but I was just talking to somebody about that actually at baseball on Friday. So I might have to go and have a look at that because I think that'd be fun. Tamara, do you plan weekly to do the next couple of weeks? I love a checklist, but get stuck on how to make it work. I could set something up, but then get lost and keep on rolling. Probably easy to not answer that. Or probably not easy to answer that. Just love being inspired. So I don't... Okay. So my schedule is kind of like a rolling schedule, right? So I'll know for the coffee runs and everything, they're blocked in for 11 a.m. from now until the end of the year, just because I put them in the schedule. And the Tuesdays I do usually in a 10-week block, because I like to think of it like a season. And then I can map out the topics so that I'm really kind of laser focused on that. In terms of the activities, it's the same every day, right? The things that I'm doing are the same things every day. So the only difference with that would be if I've got a live event that I'm running. So for instance, there's a live event, a client event up here in Mildura on the 28th and 29th of June. And I know like in advance, it's like I'll just make sure that I don't plan anything in on that Friday. So that 2-day event goes into the schedule and rah. I'm not sure if that's kind of what you mean. And I mean, for instance, like if I show you like in here, I've got like written blog daily, post that to website, post it to my Facebook page, that's the same. And it happens on the Thursday. This is actually last week's planner. I haven't done my planner for this week. But as I'm saying, you know, it's the same stuff every day, literally. It's just, I use this more of a reminder. What I do have, and then what I'll put on here, so if I've got any ideas, like you are the muse, right? So last week I put a post up saying you are the muse, and that was because to remind me, like I wrote this on here to remember to put that out. And then I wanted to book the photographer, so I wrote that in pencil in there. So I do treat this as like my, like if I have a brain fart about something, it's like, oh, it goes on the planner, so that, because I keep this is by my side, like I'm working out here this week, this is by my side all the time. Writing articles are in here. So like that, again, that's a daily thing. So I'm not sure if that answers the specific questions that you're looking for. Let's say that, something that is on my planner that I have not actioned. How's this? So one of the things that I have not done, and I've had it on my planner for a while, has been to make sure I want to start a new podcast, and I have not done that. The temperatures have just dropped in here. So I want to start a new podcast, and it's on my planner, and I haven't done it for like the last 2 weeks. And that would be the kind of thing where, because I don't create a new podcast every day. What have I got on here? I've got set up podcast. Right now, that's unhelpful. What I would normally do, and what I actually do need to do, is go and put on here, decide on the name. Go and create the SoundCloud account for it. Go and record, like block in time to record the episodes. And then actually what I do is I break that thing down into the steps that I need to take. So if you don't know what the steps are, and I've got, like say you want to create a podcast, for instance, then the thing that you need to do, if you don't know how to do it, what you'd put on your planner is research for 1 hour how to create a podcast, right? And then go put that in your schedule so that it's a rock in your diary. Thank you, Westpac. So I worked for Westpac for 12 years. And one of the things that would happen inadvertently is that if there were meetings or things that needed to be done and that they weren't being done, we had to actually put them in our diary, and they became the rocks in the diary, like team meetings or coaching or whatever. So rock in the diary means it cannot be moved, right? So go and put it in your schedule, and then treat it like it's a rock in your schedule. Treat it like an appointment with your lash technician, or with your Botox person, or with your personal trainer, or with your, I don't know, your children at sports day, you know, whatever it is that is really super important to you, like the gym class, whatever it is. Whatever is super important to you, put it in your schedule, treat it like a rock in the diary that cannot be changed, moved, negotiated upon, and then use that time to learn how to do whatever it is that you need to do if you don't already know how to do it. Yeah, that's what I would do. All right, that's totally what my head needs, a broken down step-by-step to-do list. This is a huge help. Oh, yay, excellent. Yeah, so that's how I stay on track. And then sometimes what I'll do is I'll go on, I've got to go do that. And I'm like the podcast, it's like, dude, that's not going to fucking happen today because I've got an article to come that's just come through. Or I've just had a radio interview request that is a priority over going, like that to me, like that's time bound. I can't push that out till next week. Whereas creating the podcast, because I've got all of the other pillars ticking along and working, the podcast is like a nice to have. It's not a necessity. It's not a sales activity. It's not a marketing, well, it is a marketing activity, but I've got other things going on. So that becomes less urgent. So I guess that's one of the ways that I'll prioritize as well, or I'll shift things around in order to create space for things that do come up. But it just depends on what's happening. All right. Well, lovely, lovely people, fellow badasses. Really awesome to chat with you today. If you've got any other questions that you've got coming through, make sure you message me them or email them to me, and I would love to answer them for you next week on Q&A Wednesday. often what happens is if something comes through as well, I can always build it into the coffee run lives and help you through that stuff too. If there's anything that you want to learn how to do, let me know. And if I know how to do it, I can give you some pointers and tips or advice and stuff like that as well on things. So just let me know, open book and all that. Okay, so Bold is starting on Friday week, which is really awesome. We've got a couple of spots left for the bonus one-on-ones still. So if you're sitting on the fence, then jump in and lock it in, Eddie, as soon as you can so that you can secure your one-on-one spots. And that's whether you're a VIP or a not VIP person. The thing that I'm really excited about with Bold is that it's all about kind of unleashing a sense of theming for you. So something that's made my life so much easier, my marketing so much easier for me, has been to have a bit of a theme a bit of a theme around my stuff. So in the past, I've had sales and marketing spy school. So everything was about secret agents. So we've had the Secret Agent Online program. I used to call my new clients my secret agent operatives or spies in training. We used to build an alias of like a persona around you of how you would show up online and things like that. So everything was kind of all spy related, and that was really great and really fun. And what you will have noticed over this year is that it's been a lot more about being a rock star, being a badass, just getting out there, having fun, ripping up, tearing up, sharing your song, your message, your voice out into the world and doing it in a really powerful way. And what that does for me, how that helps me, is that I guess music has always been such a huge part of my world, such a huge part of my life. And right from when I was a baby, actually, I suppose you could say, like my parents were DJs before they had me. And then so like music has been really important to them, and that just kind of has flowed throughout my whole life. Which is really, really awesome. And I just love it, and the way that music can move us and things like that. So everything that I've been talking about throughout this last year, or this year particularly, and into the end of last year, is all about really embracing that inner rock star, that inner badass, and using that. So what that does for me in terms of the creativity is it really helps me to go, wow, if I'm in self-doubt, for instance, it's like, well, what would Gwen Stefani do? What would Madonna do? It's okay to be nervous. You hear, I'm not sure if you're watching The Voice, but, and whether it's real or not, I don't know, but it's kind of interesting to observe. You see the little clips of Delta going, oh my gosh, I still get so nervous when the chairs turn. I get so nervous for those people, get so nervous waiting for how they're going to sound. And it's like, well, if everybody gets nervous before game day, if everybody gets nervous before they have to go walk out onto that track, if everybody gets nervous before they walk onto that stage, whether it's a literal stage in a stadium or in a television studio, and it's like, well, what's the next choice and decision that they make, regardless of the fact that they might be nervous or scared or had a really shit day or filled with self-doubt, or maybe they just had their record label turn them down, or they went and recorded some tracks and nobody liked them, whatever it might be, what's the next choice and the decision that gets made? And it's not like to sit on your laurels and fucking quit. It's to dig back in and dig deep and to, go harder, stronger, fitter, faster, and access that sense of rawness, or that like va-va-voomness that I've talked about before. And so what that does for me is it helps then for me to layer through and gives me some consistency with how to layer all of this through my marketing, through my imagery, through the course creation and stuff like that. And I mean, I guess that's how Bold was created. It's the conversations I've had with clients around, they say to me, oh, like, I don't want to market in the same way that everybody else does. I don't want to do it in the same freaking way as all of the competitors. But the tendency is to revert back to what's safe, right? Because if you're going to go out and do something different, you're kind of making yourself vulnerable and exposing yourself and leaving yourself available for people to be like, oh, that's a bit strange, that's a bit weird, you know, who the fuck does she think she is, or what the heck is he doing, and, you know, what the heck are they even doing? Like, I don't even understand. And so what bold is all about is about you being okay with you accessing some of that creativity, for you building a theme around what you're doing, but in a way that is really aligned to you, right? So because it's got to feel good to you, it's got to make sense to you, because then what happens, it's like, if you imagine that there's a conduit, like a big fat gold conduit coming down from God, source, universe, whatever word you identify with. And like, there's just might be a bit of a plug there at the moment in terms of the creativity. If we can remove that plug and allow all of that creativity start to flow, oh look, the sun's just come out and now it's blinding me, then that's the stuff that accessing all of that kind of thing and accessing that theming and that fun and that creativity is what's going to enable you to stand out. Isn't it funny that I was just talking about that golden light, that tube coming down, and then phew, the sun? That was a little bit spooky and kind of awesome. So if you're not in bold yet, then get on in it. The link is in here. It's pinned in there. You can learn more about it by clicking on that link and reading through. But at the end of the day, the thing for people like you and me is that success isn't an option. It's a necessity. It's just a fact of nature. It's the only way that any of us are actually ever going to be happy is if we are successful. And yes, I know that success will look different for you to what it looks for me, which will look different to the person next to you, and that's totally fine. But the thing that we all need to be able to do is to be able to market ourselves in a way that's really bold, in a way that is standing out, and in a way that is really fucking aligned. So it feels really good for you to show up and do what it is that you need to do. So if you've got any questions about that, make sure you let me know. But otherwise, I look forward to welcoming you in to our bold community of complete badasses and rock stars, naturally, who are all on a really similar journey to you, but they're really excited about pushing the envelope. They're really excited about doing something really freaking different in their industry, and just, you know, smashing it out there and rocking it. So if you've got any questions about that, let me know. Otherwise, have an amazing day. I will chat with you all at 11 o'clock tomorrow on the Coffee Run Live. And it is a hints, tips, advice Thursday. So if there's anything that you want advice around, if you want to know how to do something, like I said, hit me up, let me know, and I'd love to walk you through that. But otherwise, have an amazing day. Have fun, be creative, get out there, go help some people, be visible. And I think the biggest thing about all of it is be bold, but have fun doing it, all right? Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you tomorrow.